Hey, what's going on everybody? Today is Thursday, March 18th, I believe. Yes, March 18th. Happy Thursday. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Ryan. I'm a CPA. And today I'm going to be talking about what's going on lately with the American Rescue Plan, just passed by Congress last week. We're going to talk about unemployment, the tax deadline, the child tax credit, and the stimulus payments, of course. So those are the main topics today. But first, if you haven't done so already, or if you're new here, please, I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. And also, if you are a returning watcher or viewer, thanks so much for joining me again. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is unemployment. Now, with the American Rescue Plan passed into law last week, there's been several big changes here, and unemployment is one of them. There's going to be an extra $300 per week that's coming as a federal unemployment aid, okay? And what's going to change is that it's going to be extended. Those benefits are going to be extended until September 6th of 2021. It seems like the White House and Congress recognize that the pandemic is something that's going to be more of a long-term thing, so they wanted to extend that those benefits out to September. Now, that's all good and dandy for 2021, but what's going on for 2020? Well, they have also made unemployment up to $10,200 of unemployment non-taxable for 2020. Now, this might be confusing because tax season has already started, people have already filed their taxes, like things have already been happening for 2020 tax year, and now they're changing up the rules. So, because of that, they just announced yesterday, on Wednesday, that they're extending the personal tax deadline to May 17th. So, this is kind of similar to what we saw last year in 2020 where they extended it to July. July is a bit long in my opinion, so May feels like a good balance, considering that they're still changing laws for 2020. So what we see on our end as professionals is that we basically have to wait. We have to wait until our software companies update their systems to allow or to account for the non-taxable unemployment income. And then we have to then tell our clients, what they have to do. So if you have not filed your taxes yet and you received unemployment in 2020, then I would just wait. Okay, I would wait for guidance. I would wait for the IRS to either issue new worksheets for the calculation of taxable income, or wait for your software company. If you're doing taxes on your own, TurboTax, they're gonna have to update that stuff. Your tax professional, they're gonna have to wait for the updates on their end. So I would just wait and see and wait for guidance from the IRS. Now, if you already filed your taxes, the IRS is asking you to not file an amendment, okay? They're saying that they will likely try to handle it on their end. If you already filed your taxes, claimed all your unemployment as taxable income, they're likely gonna try to give you a refund or something like that after they adjust your tax return once they process it. So again, we're just waiting for guidance on the IRS, and we're waiting for them to work with the software companies to make sure things are updated. All right, so the next big thing I'm going to talk about is the child tax credit. The child tax credit is basically a credit that you get for having a kid. Prior to 2018, this actually came in the form of a deduction. It was when you claim a dependent, you get a deduction for that dependent. And then President Trump changed the tax law to give you a tax credit instead of a deduction. And a tax credit is actually more beneficial than a deduction. Under President Trump's laws, you got up to $2,000 per child that is 16 years old and younger. That's a direct reduction of your tax liability. Now, according to the American Rescue Plan, the child tax credit is going to increase to $3,600 for children under 6 years old. And for children between 6 years old and 17 years old, you're going to get $3,000 of a child tax credit. Now, this credit is going to be a 2021 tax credit only. It's only going to be in effect for 2021. In 2022, it's going to go back to the normal $2,000 per child credit, unless more changes happen. So what's going to be unique about this credit is that it's going to be advanced to taxpayers, kind of like the stimulus payments, because if you're not familiar, the stimulus payments are actually tax credits that are being paid in advance to the taxpayer. So same thing here with the child tax credit. They're planning on paying $300 per month starting July. So that's going to take care of a portion of the tax credit. And then you will get the remainder of the credit when you file your taxes in 2022. Now, this tax credit is fully available for people who make under $75,000 per year, or couples who make under $150,000 per year, and it starts to phase out after that. Okay, so and it starts to phase out to the normal tax credit amount, and the normal tax credit amount phases out at $200,000 per year, or $400,000 per couple. Okay, so there's some numbers there to see if you're going to qualify for this. Your dependent's age also is a qualifier, so be on the lookout for that too. And obviously, if you have a child this year in 2021, the IRS is not going to know about it, so you will get the full credit for this child when you file your taxes the following year, if that makes sense. All right. Okay, so on to the next item, which is the stimulus payments. Now, the stimulus payment is another $1,400 per individual and dependent. Okay, per individual and qualifying dependents. Now, the income limits of this stimulus payment is much more stringent than the previous ones. It starts at the same $75,000 phase out limit as the other stimulus payments, but it completely phases out by $80,000 of income. That means there's only a $5,000 phase out window there, which is insane. Whereas previously, in previous stimulus payments, the phase out window starts at $75K and it ends at $99K, so there's a larger window there. So this stimulus payment, as I mentioned, $1,400 per individual and per qualifying child, with the phase out windows I just mentioned, and you would double the phase out windows if you are married. That means if you're single, you're gonna get $1,400. If you're married and you have 2 kids, you're gonna have $5,600. And this stimulus payment should have already started rolling into people's checking accounts, as I've been receiving emails about it already. You gotta hand it to the IRS. They're getting pretty quick with this. I really thought they were not gonna do it until maybe early April. But yeah, here we are. As of yesterday at least, stimulus payments have started rolling into people's checking accounts, so be on the lookout for that. So how is the IRS gonna know how much you make, or what income figures are they gonna use? They're gonna use either 2019 or 2020 tax returns, or maybe whatever most recent filed tax returns you have on file. They're gonna look at the income numbers there, okay? Now, obviously, if your 2020 tax return is already filed and they use that number and you didn't qualify, you will still be able to apply for it or to qualify for it when you file your 2021 taxes, because this is a 2021 tax credit. If in 2021 or this year you made less than $75,000, but in 2020 you made, like, let's say $85,000, so you don't qualify, when you file your taxes next year, you'll be able to claim the stimulus payment as a credit, as a tax credit. Okay, so that's how these are working. Same thing with the first 2 stimulus payments. If you should have gotten them, but you didn't, you should be able to claim them as a tax credit on your 2020 tax return. If you're not following what I'm saying, then be sure to get in touch with me or a professional. Obviously, if you haven't gotten your stimulus payments by now, then that's a concern, and you should file your 2020 taxes to get them immediately. Okay, but of course, if you took unemployment, then wait for that to change first and go from there. So some reasons you might not have received your stimulus payments: maybe the IRS had a bad address for you, or maybe they had the wrong checking account, or maybe they tried sending you a gift card but just never made it. All these reasons are reasons that you may have not received a stimulus payment before. So if you file your taxes and you're due a refund, be sure to put your direct deposit information on your tax return so that the IRS has that updated information. So any future payments, stimulus, child tax credit, maybe potential future stimulus payments, whatever it is, can go straight to your checking account. All right, that's all I got for today. Thanks for joining me. Again, my name is Ryan. If you're new here, please consider subscribing to my channel, as I'm gonna keep you all up to date for this kind of stuff. And stay safe out there, and take care. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a sticker. She picture perfect, so I told him